Welcome to the Wake.Show. As everybody knows, a show needs an intro. This is that intro. I am Fisher, your host, featuring Chris McCarty. He is on his way back and will be here Thursday. I realize that's kind of a lazy rhyme there. It was a pretty easy one, but welcome to Thursday, or welcome to Wednesday, everybody. And Chris McCarty will be back on tomorrow. And I almost texted him right before the show, just out of curiosity, because he might be flying right by. Chris might be flying right by Hurricane Chris. Good morning, Lauren, Elliot, Ian. I hope all is well. Thank you for being here. We'll cover some of the issues of the day on the Wake.Show, but I want to also thank Single Source Insurance for being here and sponsoring the first 15 minutes of the Wake.Show. Make sure you check out Single Source. I'm going to get that one. There you go. There's that globe guy. Make sure you check out Single Source Insurance to get a quote from them. It's very simple. Give them a call or check them out online. I got the link there in the body, singlesourceins.com, singlesourceins.com. All right. Other than that, where are we here? All right. Other than that, so you got Joey here today, but I don't have any other cameras set up. So you got a one camera day, unless, I do something like this, and that's as close to a two camera day as we're going to get today. And we'll be talking about some of the things that are in the news from, first of all, happy 7-Eleven day. This is always an exciting day, right? On the way to work, you stop in and get yourself a free 7-Eleven Slurpee on July the 11th. No, I can't because I can't have any sugar, no carbs. No, I'm not going to go on for another 10 minutes about how I'm on the keto diet. You all know that. I'm just saying that I couldn't, even if I did, even if I was putting sugar in my body right now, I don't think I would have swung into 7-Eleven to get a Slurpee today. Because I'm not 8. Sorry, that was rude. Because I know I would imagine too, if like in your college, you hit those 18, 19, 20, and you're out on your own and you're putting life together, you're figuring out how to pay some bills here. I know your parents are still taking care of some stuff over here, but these are the kind of moments that you live for. Those free days where McDonald's are giving something away for free, or Dunkin' Donuts, and today it's 7-Eleven. Happy 7-Eleven day. Anybody take advantage? Kurt, did you take advantage? Stop and get a Slurpee on the way in? Also coming up on the show today, did you guys, have you been over the blueprint yet? I haven't had a Slurpee in many moons. Elliot, the last Slurpee I had, the last 100 Slurpees, the last 500 Slurpees I had, I believe were called daiquiris. Maybe that's the difference. Once you become an adult, you just graduate into when's National Daiquiri Day? Is it the same day as Slurpee Day? It should be. Slurpee Day and Rum Day should be on the same day. Candace, how are you? All right, sorry, I don't know why I'm yelling. I think I'm yelling because it's been a weird week. But things are good for now. Things are good for now. Kurt, no Slurpee for me. Cutting back on the sugar too. Good for you, man. I'm back into ketosis. I'd slipped out of it over the weekend, and now I'm back in. We'll talk to Eric probably on Friday from TNL Nutrition. Check back in with him and get a boost going into the weekend. Get a little inspiration, a pep talk going into the weekend. Also tomorrow on the show, don't forget, not only will Chris McCarty be back, but we will also be talking to Weintraub's, Steve Weintraub. Julie and Steve, they do a lot in the community, Golden Diamond Source, and he's got something that's in his craw right now and would like to see if the public can help him out. So we'll talk to him tomorrow. He'll be checking in from Colorado. I'm trying deep ketosis, Kurt. I'm trying to go deep. I can't get past moderate for whatever reason. I can't get into the dark purples for whatever reason. So I've cut out dairy. And this morning I had to look up something because I was afraid. At first I didn't think mayonnaise was dairy, but when I brought it up to Lauren this morning, she goes, "Well, isn't that dairy?" I'm like, "Oh, shoot. I don't know. It's white. I guess it could be. I don't know much about the mayo. I am not a mayonnaise aficionado." So I looked it up. No dairy, so I can have plenty of mayonnaise. So I got an extra dollop. By dollop, I mean probably 2 tablespoons of mayonnaise into my chicken salad today. So I'm going to get there. I'm going to get deep into ketosis, and I'll be dark purple, dropping weight like a madman, dropping weight like someone who's really ill. Sorry, I didn't mean to be I wasn't trying to be offensive on that one. It just naturally was. It naturally is. All right, so happy, let's see, celebrate 7-Eleven's birthday. I didn't know it was also their birthday with a free Slurpee. This is literally the day. Okay, the first 7-Eleven opened up in Texas in 1927. The company had been celebrating their birthday with free Slurpees for over a decade. The deal, I did not know they opened on 7-Eleven 1927. Now you know. Happy Trivia Wednesday. Except it's not Trivia Wednesday. Except for, Kurt, you have a trivia night tonight, don't you? You can always go to Lean Protein only for a few days. That'll get you deep. I'll have to clear this by my trainer and all of this. One of the things that I want to do, Kurt, if I can't get deep in the ketosis, the dark purples, I think I'm going to just do one of those 24-hour, if not 30-hour, a little bit longer, fasting, where I just don't eat and then jam my body with fat bombs and see what happens from there. You're right, Candace, I can do it. You can do it. All right, so happy birthday, 7-Eleven anyway. I will say this, while we're on the subject of 7-Eleven, this is not a paid advertisement. There are a couple things that I've always appreciated from 7-Eleven in a hurry, in a pinch. One, I know we've talked about it and you've already chastised me, but I'm telling you, those blueberry muffins are delicious. The blueberry muffins at 7-Eleven are delicious. I would also put their apple fritter, and again, I don't know who bakes their stuff. Somebody in the Bay Area, I'm sure, bakes their stuff, and they get everything goes to 7-Eleven. But their apple fritter, if you're a fan of the apple, I shouldn't be talking about this stuff. I shouldn't be talking about this. I want an apple fritter pretty badly right now. Oh, I got to do some liking and sharing while we're here. All right, so anyway, their apple fritter, put it up, buy one, okay, and then go to Publix. Now, I'm not talking about some bakery that'll kick their ass. I mean, just go straight to Publix and get their apple fritter. Put them next to each other. That 7-Eleven fritter is like twice the size, and it is magnificent. Take a bite. I'm telling you, the apple fritter from 7-Eleven is better than the one at Publix. Now, I know we're not talking about, bakeries here. But, all right, here we go. Thank you so much for the likes and shares. More importantly, just as important, all of it's important, is inviting friends to be a part of the show today. And then we'll get to some of the subject matter. We are live. All right. Oh, sorry. I got caught up in watching me on the internet. All right. So, have you guys seen the plans, the new plans for the Rays? What do you think about that? We're going to touch on that. I'm also going to get to a column today from John Romano, and his big question in the column is Tampa Bay, the Bay Area, a major league city? No matter where you put a team, are we a major league city, or are we just big enough and passionate enough sports fans to support football and hockey? And our college teams and high school stuff, we have no issues with. But maybe we should just go, hey, we're never going to be that city, and it's probably best not to waste any money on that and let them go somewhere else. So we'll cover that today as well. Okay. So your thoughts on free speech. In an appeal, the lawyer says the woman that urged her boyfriend, and I know we call her a woman, she was like 18 at the time, but remember this chick here. She was the one that urged her now dead ex-boyfriend to kill himself. She is currently in prison. We'll come back to this story because now that's going through the appeal process, and they're appealing that this is a violation of her First Amendment rights. This is free speech. And no matter how horrible the speech was and how horrible the outcome was, you can't lay this on her. So we'll come back to that, mull that over, and we'll come back to that. George Clooney, I don't know if we need to come back to this or not. Maybe we just tackle this right now. But I don't know how. It's always fascinating when you see people like George Clooney, or if you're a sports star making millions of those people that make tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars, but still will take some significant risks. Now, I don't know this is It's in the category for me. I couldn't do it because it's riding a motorcycle, and he ends up in a car wreck. And I don't know if you guys have seen the videos yet. We've got a couple of pictures here, but he goes flying into the, that could have been it, or it could have been paralyzed. But I guess the argument is that could happen walking down the street, But there is behavior, right? There is behavior that's riskier than other behavior. Let me put it this way. If you were worth $100 million, would you be out there on, well, I guess that depends on if you're raised on a motorcycle, if you're comfortable with a motorcycle, then I'm being absolutely ridiculous in this moment because of my fear, my ignorance of, it's not ignorant. I mean, listen, since I didn't grow up on the motorcycle, you will not see me riding a motorcycle ever around the streets of Tampa Bay. Clearwater, anywhere, Pinellas, you will not see me on the streets. One day, maybe, in my later years, will I be on one in some back road somewhere? Maybe, but I don't have to be. I don't have to be. To each his own on that one. Oh, so I'll show you a couple of pictures before we... Okay, why? Because you want to see them, if you haven't seen them yet. And there's one, and that's all I've got. Actor George Clooney slammed his motorbike into an oncoming car that turned suddenly into his lane on Tuesday and was thrown several meters in the air on the Italian island of Sardinia, according to the video of the crash. He is recovering at his home and will be fine. Surveillance video of the crash, apparently taken by a fixed security camera, was obtained late Tuesday by a newspaper. It shows a blue Mercedes veering into oncoming traffic, apparently to turn into a residential compound. The video shows what is reported as Clooney's scooter crashing into the car while another scooter alongside him vanished. I guess it's not that big of a deal. I'm acting like it's this risky behavior. And it really isn't, it really isn't. You're in some cool little Italian town and you want to grab a scooter, you should feel safe to be able to, tool around. And just like anywhere else in the world, you got to watch out for other people because they are not watching out for you for whatever reason. It's too bad he didn't get recognized then. They would have slammed on the brakes. And lastly, we'll come back to a story. Tyler Perry allegedly is giving away all of his money on Facebook. But he has come forward to share a different version of his story. All right. Everybody gets some likes and some shares and some invites in there. How's everybody doing today? Tonight, if you are looking to have a little fun, get out of the house, well, then join me. It's karaoke night every single Wednesday night at Park and Rec downtown St. Pete. Park and Rec downtown St. Pete. And that'll be from 8 until midnight. And then tomorrow, I'll be doing Mastery's Trivia Night on Thursday night. Mastery's Blind Pass in St. Pete Beach. On St. Pete Beach. So here we go. I'm not a motorcycle fan. I'm more about safety than a thrill. But like you said, it becomes second nature to riding motorcycle for someone because that's how they were brought up. To each their own. Risks aren't always worth it to me the majority of the time. Yeah, Candace, one thing I don't think I need to mark off my bucket list is going to be jumping out of a plane. I don't think I'll ever need to mark that off. Done a little, bungee jumped a couple times. Got it. It was a thrill. But then I don't know. I think my life is enough highs and lows. I'm with you, Candace. I want to try to find a little bit more of this in my life. These are the adventures I want to go on now at 46 years old. One, I don't need the raging rapids anymore. I don't need the black diamond slopes anymore. Give me a bunny slope and something warm at the end of it. And that's the kind of life I'm looking for. So what do you guys think overall about this new Rays ballpark? I guess there's a couple of different angles here. And that is going to be financing for this. Is it worth it? All that kind of stuff. And the other is just simply they released they unveiled the plans for Raybor City. Did you see that one? Raybor City. Like it. And turn your attention to your monitors now, ladies and gentlemen, as we go live to the Tampa Bay Rays Stadium in Ybor City. Tell you what, looks nice, right? That does. The highlights. So let's get right to it out of TampaBay.com. The estimated price tag for the entire project, $892 million. The ballpark itself is projected to cost $809. million, and related infrastructure, including a parking garage and pedestrian bridge over Adamo Drive, is pegged at another $83 million. The cost of the stadium includes one of its standout features, a translucent roof, expected to cost itself almost $245 million. Man. So here are some of the stats. The proposed ballpark will seat over 28,000 people. Add in standing areas, and what's the capacity right now? Is about this? Is it that at the Trop, or is it more like in the 40 range? Does anybody know? I could Google it, I guess, but I mean, or we can just get back to the story. That would be the fewest seats of any Major League Baseball venue. By comparison, the latest configuration. Oh, how about this? How about I just keep going, and it'll be right here in front of me. The latest configuration at Tropicana Field with upper seats tarp and closed off is 31,042. So it's just a little bit less than that. Parking, special elements. The architectural firm Populous worked with the Rays to design the proposed stadium, which includes, let's see here. We do this. I guess it doesn't make it worth it. See-through sliding glass walls, a fixed translucent roof, architectural features such as a brick facade that would integrate the stadium into its surroundings in Tampa's historic Latin district. Home plate would face Ybor. The stadium footprint would be about 900,000 square feet. The Rays say it would be available for public use year-round. Quote, will be of, by, and for the people of Tampa Bay, unquote. The stadium site is 14 acres, sitting along Ybor City in the Channelside district. The site is bordered by 15th Street and Channelside Drive to the east, and west 4th Avenue and Adamo Drive to the north and south. Man, that is a nice, that's a nice chunk of Ybor. And Ian, you guys were a couple that enjoyed that shuttle going back and forth too, right? Ian says they need to get some sort of light rail transit system that will transport people from all around the Bay Area. Driving to downtown Tampa on weekdays at 5 to 6 will be a nightmare. Mayor, you are 100% right. And it's people won't do it. Geez. Yeah, that's a tough one. You're right. They need to get some kind of a rail system in and out of there. Is that part of this plan, Ian? Is this part of the $890 million? Jeez. All right. So the translucent section of the roof, which will cover the outfield, will be made from a synthetic fluoropolymer known as PTFE. Architects looked at using other transparent material that emits enough ultraviolet light to grow a grass field. But even with extensive use of grow lamps, the team would have faced replacing the field 4 or 5 times a season. And that is a lot of money. That's why the new stadium will have artificial turf. Timetable. A new stadium is expected to take several years to complete. The Rays officials said they are shooting to have the stadium ready to open by the start of the 2023 season. That would require construction beginning by the spring of 2020. The Rays' contract with St. Petersburg to play at the Trop runs out in 2027. The team's 3-year agreement with the city that allowed it to explore a Tampa site runs out at the end of this year. And so this is an important part of this story, is that, yeah, and they stopped the ferry too, right, Ian? Like that was just a test thing, or is it working and they're gonna keep going with it, or is that only going to be during hockey season or something? But this is one of the bigger points is this timetable that the Rays have until the end of the year. Literally, you have until 11/59, December 31st of this year to make up your mind there. What's unclear, however, is where the team needs to have a financial deal for a new stadium before it can leave St. Pete, or only needs to give the city notice that it is moving to Ybor City. Obviously, legal action could complicate the timetable. Rays share cost to build this new stadium is still also unclear, according to the article coming out of TampaBay.com. We don't have those answers yet, says the team president. All right. So here's what some of the fans are saying around the Bay Area here. I mean, it really does look cool. And as a fan and as a citizen of Tampa Bay, if they can pull this off, that's awesome. And if it works out, even awesomer. But there's a part, I guess there's just a part of me that goes, I don't know. I don't know that it would work. We have been coming since day one. We love the Trop. I know it has its limitations and issues, but for us, it's a 20-minute drive at the most, and parking is easy. Going to Tampa, I think the new stadium will be awesome and fun to go to, see through the roof and restaurants, and have everything there that we don't have here. Biggest issue is the traffic, because it will take 3 to 4 times as long, so I don't know if I'll be able to keep. Probably not. Those dynamics will definitely change. For those of you that have been within minutes of the stadium for years, it's obviously going to change, and you're like, unless they put some kind of a system in that zooms you across the to the other side and back, you're likely going to be giving up your season tickets. They're trying to bring back the ferry for this fall and winter. Okay, that's what I thought. That's what I thought I read. Robert, how are you? Good to see your name. Thank you very much for the likes, the shares, the interactions, the commentary. Oh, also, one of the things that we didn't touch on last week before Chris left, we were supposed to have a big show talking about the show and the future of the show and what's going on. But it's probably just best for when Chris gets back, and that'll be tomorrow. Oh, also, I'll have to try to smooth something over with him tomorrow. If you guys don't mind, I want to run something by you. So, now I don't want to go back to where I was, mentally. For those of you that are watching yesterday and the day before, I was very off my game, Robert, and in one of those mental health places, and decided to come in and just roll solo and let my mental health issues play out right in front of you as best as I can in an environment like this. So like I said, I shouldn't have done a show Monday or Tuesday, or, invited people to come in that I could just keep diverting the attention to and let them, kind of handle things. So I get a text from Chris, and he's like, hey, man, watching the show. My mom is from England. I was introducing the song as to entertain the crowd when I met Julia. Sometimes I speak like that around my parents, or when I'm in England around the first voice I've ever known. Let's not attempt to make me look like the fraud. When I'm gone, sometimes it's like you take shots at me, like when I wasn't there and you chose to not tell people I was with autistic kids. You just said I wasn't in, open-ended. Just a thought, not mad or upset. Watch it and see. So I went back to watch. And you know what? I can see what he sees. I see what he sees. And because of the place I was in my head, I could not execute the basic functions of the show. So what he's talking about is when I started showing his video and the pictures that he sent me. Now, normally in a case like that, it'll be fun. I'm clicking on all cylinders, and I'm having fun with the pictures. We're making our comments and moving on and da-da-da. But that day, from the moment I got up that morning, this was Monday and Tuesday, there was nothing happening. Like everything, any references, those things that you count on when you put yourself in I'm doing good, Alexander. Thank you. Thank you very much. How's everything in Moscow, right? Moscow or St. Petersburg? Where are you? By the way, say hello to our president if you see him. Oh, wait, he's going to Helsinki. He's not going all the way to Russia. So I go back and watch what he's talking about. And he's right, because I can't get any joke out that I really want to get out. I'm just kind of talking. Okay, so anyway, the way I would look at the way I would see this from my vantage point is that was a really shitty bit, a horrible show, and I got to make sure that doesn't happen again. We got to make sure those moments don't happen again, right? But then from his vantage point, it looks like I'm purposefully trying to make him look like a fraud, and you're like, holy yeah. So we'll deal with this. I think he's landing today, and we'll deal with this. And it's nothing to deal with. It's just we'll address it tomorrow. Weather is good and sunny. Good for you, Alexander. I still keep meaning to message you and to have you on the show. Just because, for a couple reasons. One, I think it's really cool, as this show advances and we're trying to figure out how Tampa-centric it's going to be and how world-centric, how universal it's going to be. We're reminded. I mean, we've got people listening in Michigan and in Moscow and Vietnam. And we're at the very beginning. I mean, right now there's only, half a dozen people watching or so. It's just cool because Alexander, you live in Moscow. We Americans here have our perceptions of Russians. I'm a kid from the 80s, so Russians to me are just, the people that Rambo fought and Red Dawn fought and we were fighting, so, I have definitely a very ignorant view of the world, of limited, skewed view of the world. All right, let's see what else. Well, I guess this segues into Romano's column, and that is Tampa Bay even a major league city? All right. The stadium looks beautiful. On paper, right? This thing looks awesome. To picture some kind of iridescent globe sitting in the middle in that area there that's emitting a light at night is a pretty cool visual. But let's just start with the beginning here, just for a couple sentences. Let's start with the obvious. Whoa. That goes for the design and price tag for the stadium the Tampa Bay Rays proposed in Ybor City on Tuesday. It was visually intriguing and economically daunting. So feel free to be excited, to be skeptical, to be all of the above. But this column is not about the translucent roof or the mostly vague suggestions of creative funding resources. There is a much simpler question that must be addressed first. As a community, does Tampa Bay want to be in the business of Major League Baseball? Because really, that's what it's all about. The cost of remaining a big league market can be hefty. Some would say the cost of losing a major league team is hefty as well. Since 1961, 5 cities have lost an MLB team. 4 of those cities eventually fought to get back into the game. So that's an interesting one. All right, so 4 out of the 5 cities that dumped their teams since 1961 fought to get back into that game. The 5th, Montreal, is now one of those cities on the prowl for a franchise such as the Rays. So the 5th of those is looking to get back into the game. Sharon feels like, from what she can tell, it doesn't look too much different than the other one. I guess there are some similarities, but there are going to be some significant upgrades to that stadium. John Romano goes on to say, I'm not saying the Rays are on the verge of leaving anytime soon. In fact, I'd be stunned if MLB would open itself to the lawsuit that St. Petersburg would file if the Rays tried to vacate the market before 2027. What I'm saying is Major League Baseball is an exclusive business, and membership typically comes at a high price. Tampa Bay now has a better idea of that price and must decide whether it wants to pay. So it's one of the reasons here, one of the things is that the more Major League clubs or major league sports teams you have in your market, is that all like if you're a business looking to go for a place and you're looking at this place and this place has no major sports teams, but this place has 3 major sports teams, yeah, I guess you like that one, right? Because there's a lot more corporate money over here, in theory. I'm guessing, I'm assuming, than there is in the market that says is barely supporting one team. So I guess there is that benefit. But man, I mean, if you already got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Tampa Bay Lightning, I don't know that a 3rd sports team puts you over the top. But what the hell do I know? That's a completely different world. That's hundreds of millions and billions of dollars on the table there. All right, so back to this. The appetite for an additional burden on the average citizen is non-existent, says Tampa Mayor Bob Buckhorn. But if we can craft this so the burden is shifted to the tourists, to the developers, to those who benefit from the construction around the stadium, potentially a rental car surcharge, then I think it becomes more palatable to the average citizen and the politicians. Now, that's where it starts to get very interesting. And if you think I've got the expertise to break down whether or not they can pull this stuff off, all I can do is go on what I've been reading and these creative solutions to financing this. There are those that feel like the air quotes are definitely needed. For instance, one of them is they were saying that they were going to raise 25 million of it, I think. 25 million. So here's part of their plan. If I remember correct. And Ian, correct me if I'm wrong, if you remember. So here is part of the raise plan is that $25 million of this is going to come from the stadium sponsorship. Whoever's going to sponsor this, that's a $25 million investment. Like, all right, cool, there's $25 million. What's next, right? But then you have to do your research. And I didn't do the research. Somebody else did. I don't remember who. Somebody from the Times, I'm sure. Well, the only other ball club that's getting that kind of money, the only other kind of baseball team that's getting that kind of money out there, I think is the New York Mets, if I remember correctly, and after they got their new stadium. But that's in the number one media market in the country. Now, when you look at the numbers and you weigh us against other medium to smaller market, I guess we're getting more in like the $5 to $7 million range. So those are the kinds of numbers that concern people like John Romano and Mayor Buckhorn and those going, listen, I know on paper you're saying you could do all this stuff, but what is the reality here? And then what are they going to get Tampa on the hook for before, we realize we've been bait and switched. But the citizens won't matter as long as the stadium is awesome and the team starts to win, right? If those two things are happening, then the citizens aren't going to care. Like, spend the money. This is great. But the chances of that happening, I'm not too sure. So back to the column. This is not typically how stadium deals are made. Usually a team is closer to the end of its lease. So you might argue the Rays are jumping the gun by several years. On the other hand, there is usually a lot more bluster and threats and the occasional leaked report of a team official showing up in an MLB-starved city such as Montreal, Portland, or Nashville. In that sense, we have a chance for the bloodless conclusion. No nastiness, no finger pointing, just a market deciding whether it has the wherewithal and desire to invest in Major League Baseball. If the answer is yes, the time is right because the cost is only going to grow. If not, it's better to decide now. Then it goes on, and if you want to read more, that's in TampaBay.com today. And John Romano, one of my favorite columnists. All right, what that last question? What about that last question? Oh, you know what my dad used to call this? Shit or get off the pot. That's what my father used to call this. So, here we go. Back to the question. It is not typically how stadium stuff works. On the other hand, there's usually a lot more da-da-da-da. In the sense we have a chance for bloodless conclusion, no nastiness, no finger pointing, just a market deciding whether we have the wherewithal. Do we have what it takes in the Tampa Bay area to support that team, to make that team viable? My estimation from being born and raised in Florida, moved to this area in 1998. I don't know. I think how about this? I'm not convinced that it would definitely work. We've had our issues in St. Pete. So what are the main issues in St. Pete? An older stadium. Well, listen, there's not a lot of complaints at the stadium. To be able to sit indoors in that air conditioning, I don't care if there's some chip paint which there never is. Or they're not fully updated here or there. I don't know that stuff matters, man. I've always enjoyed baseball games there, except for the fact that I forget that I'm watching a baseball game. After you're sitting there for a while, and the air conditioning is so amazing, and next thing you know, you catch yourself looking up at the Jumbotron, you realize you're watching the game from the Jumbotron, not even looking down at the field, because you feel like you're on your couch. It's got its pluses and its minuses. The other issue, that it was in St. Pete and not in Tampa. These are so-called issues, by the way. I mean, you might think they're an issue or not an issue. The next issue is whether it being in St. Pete was the issue. That if we brought it to Tampa and you put it in the bigger market where there's more corporations right around it, bigger money right around it, that makes it easier for a team. Not only that, but more of the population, it's easier for them to get to. For those of you that have been in St. Pete for a long time and have loved this arrangement, I'm sorry. It's likely doomed one way or another. You either got a few more years and the Rays are going to go elsewhere, or you've got some time and a few more years and they're going to go over to Tampa. Predictions. We're going to get this done. Tampa is going to get this done. Because we are such a fast-growing city, I think there are going to be enough that see this as almost a beacon in the night. It's going to be this big, beautiful structure as people come into Tampa. You're going to be able to see it from I-4, I'm assuming. And you'll definitely be able to see it from I-4. And think about it. in the same area where we've got that 200 foot, Confederate flag sitting out there in 75 going, hey, welcome to Tampa, everybody. Now turn around, half of you. You have this huge ball of light. So I think that there's going to be enough people that want this to work. They're going to see this as part of the future of this city, and they'll make it happen. All right? That's my prediction. Based on what? I don't know. Based on the same stuff you'll make your predictions on, reading the paper and watching the news for the past 20 years. There's a list of things that need to change to support the team. One, this is from Sharon. One, they change the team roster constantly. That wasn't as big of a deal when the center of that team was not a pitcher or a center fielder or a first baseman that can knock it out of the park. When their superstar was their manager, it's almost like that's what they need again. They need that kind of personality in there, that kind of, he had us everybody interested. We all loved him. And, but see, here's the thing, because that's never going to change, Sharon. We're never going to be the Yankees. It's to have Evan Longoria as long as we had him, I thought was a shocker. So Matt says that traffic is better in Tampa for the midday games. Traffic is better in Tampa for the midday games. All right, but they're still getting out at 4:30. They're still getting out in afternoon traffic. So those, 1 o'clock game, but they're still getting out at 4:30, and that's going to be tough, man. There is that. I forget. Well, here's the thing. One of the reasons why I think that the Rays may stay, even though I don't know it's the best thing. Tim, how are you doing? By the way, do you think the Rays will be staying? Do you think this is going to work out, this whole stadium thing, and either the Rays stay in St. Pete, they work out a deal there, which doesn't seem very likely, or they come to Tampa? You missed those. Sarcasm. Sorry, you're right. It's not easy to pick up sarcasm in text. All right, so we have the location that they say was an issue. They say that's going to change. Got my prediction. What do you think? Does it happen? Or are the Rays out of here by, was it 2027, they say? Because there's another part of me, too, that I look at the history. See, that's the issue. I feel like if they had even in those winning years, those years that they were very competitive, very exciting. By the way, they're competitive. They're having fun this year. A lot of people didn't even think they could get to 500. They've been sticking right around there. I haven't been paying attention last week. They might have lost 5 games or whatever. I don't know. But I know they were, last time I checked, they were 1 or 2 games above 500. And so that is a solid year for this team. The other issue, so I think we tackled the main issues there. Would this stadium solve all the problems of the current baseball club? Because even during those times when they were doing well, it wasn't easy to pack the house. They could pack the house, and the Red Sox are in town, and the Yankees are in town. Once we got to the playoff, I can't remember. I know I went to some of those games, and I know they all eventually sold out. But I want to say a lot of those sold out day of. So we may be too distracted as a community to have that many major professional sports teams, and then you have USF and the University of Tampa. So Sharon says, no, they have won the last 5 games. They're doing great. They are 3 games above 500. Awesome. Thank you, Sharon. Next up on the Wake.Show, thank you so much for the likes, the shares, the engagement, and for inviting your friends. What are your thoughts on freedom of speech? Now, I think that we can all admit that what she did is ghastly. To try to imagine a couple, one boy is obviously crazy in love with this other one. He's a teenager, minor. She's 18 years old. I believe he's 17 at the time, if maybe 16. Yeah, that's a great point, too. Before we even move on to this story, Matt says, how many of the Bucks games were blacked out due to low attendance? And they only have 16 games a year. Yeah, when the Bucks aren't winning, people don't go. Ian, baseball is also one of those sports like football that is better to watch on TV than in person. I agree. I think about spring training. I was like, well, come on, man, spring training. Wait, you know what? I go to spring training for the entire experience. I'm not sitting there on the edge of my, well, you know, sometimes you'll end up getting into the game. You're sitting on the edge of the seats like this. But for the most part, I'm wearing a tank top. I've got just enough sunscreen on so I can make it through and get in a little bit of a burn, but not too much of a burn. I want to make sure I have a couple beers. I want the whole experience, the smells, the peanuts that come along with it. Peanuts is what I said. Yeah, but baseball on TV, you're right, Ian. You sit there and watch it. Falling balls and strikes, a little bit of action, no action. Start to doze off a little bit. All of a sudden, a crack of the bat wakes you back up. You're into the game. Next thing you know, 9 innings have passed. All right, so back to freedom of speech here. This is the chick that told her boyfriend to kill himself, that he was depressed and all this stuff, and she encouraged him to kill himself. She is currently in prison. They're going through the appeals process. And now they are arguing that because the judge convicted Carter for what she said or failed to say, okay? The judge convicted her on the grounds of what she said or failed to say, that violates her First Amendment rights because of what she said, not what she did. Now, when we start talking about this, if we start debating this or going back and forth, we're going back and forth as laymen's, right? As people who don't understand. We're not interpreting the letter of the law. We are going, this is what we want as citizens of the United States of America. I know sometimes you have to argue. Listen, the judges and the lawyers are arguing what the letter of the law, because in the end, it's not always, justice isn't always going to be there. The law, remember, is more important than justice. I know, it doesn't feel right. You're saying, no. We set up the law so that we can get justice. Yes. However, if you follow the letter of the law and you still don't get the justice that is needed, you have to let that be. Because if otherwise you go, well, F the law, I'll just get a mob and we'll go take care of this ourselves. And that's not the society we're trying to build here. This is not the Democratic Republic or whatever it's called, constitutional federalist, whatever it's called. Sharon says, we have too many people in prison that don't belong there. She is one of them that is not a danger to the public. She is a horrible person. That is all. Good argument. I don't know that you're going to sell me on it, but it's solid. Okay, so here's where my brain, so you go to extremes, right? So here's where, if they, I guess personally I like the precedence that this sets, so that those who are more on the psychopathic side of things and very intelligent and manipulative can't find a fun little way to become serial killers, basically, by just using their words. I know it's an extra. I went way out there. I went way out there in possibilities. Maybe that's not even in possibility land. That's 0.0000001%. But I don't know. So I like the precedence that here in America, the United States of America, this democratic republic, that in this society, the morals of the society, the rules of the society, it says I don't know, Sharon. You're right. She goes, it sounds like the thought police. It's a slippery slope, isn't it? So what would you like to see then? So are you saying that it's best for our society that this gets overturned, she gets let out of jail, we all know she's a horrible person, and that's good enough? You go, hey, this is a horrible person. Or at least they were horrible in that one moment. Hi, Kenna. Get off your father's phone. I'm just kidding, honey. Just kidding. It's good to see my brother's name there. Let's think about this for a second. Seems like the thought police. Thank you for all the hearts, honey. Seems like the thought police. Let's go back to the story, okay? Let's go back to some of the details here. So Carter, then 17, was sentenced to 2.5 years in prison for urging her boyfriend to commit suicide. It was her text messages, the judge said, that pushed the 18-year-old over the edge. And thank you very much, Single Source Insurance. But Carter's attorneys, in an appeal filed last month, urged the judge's decision violated her right to free speech and that text should not have been used to convict her. Quote, because the judge convicted Carter for what she said or failed to say, not what she did. Damn it. Sharon, this is where I think you get me. That's where I think this lawyer gets me. She didn't push him. She didn't pull any triggers. If you're the ringleader of a crime, there's text messages that go back and forth. And say this guy didn't kill himself, but he went and committed a crime because this woman was going back and forth. And he killed somebody in the process. She would be held accountable. She would be held just as accountable as the guy that pulled the trigger. So anyway, I was going to say we saw that. I didn't need to bring up an old case. Do you remember the Hiccup Girl? Look it up. Hiccup Girl. Hey, Jeff, what's up, buddy? That is conspiracy like Manson. What is conspiracy? So here we go. The standard used to test First Amendment cases has existed since 1968. It dictates that abstract advocacy of illegal activity is protected by the Constitution. Abstract advocacy of illegal activity. So I guess that means if you just say something like, I think we should burn down everything or something. Right, Sharon. So if you convince somebody else to commit a crime, then you are responsible. And committing suicide technically is a crime. So if you convince somebody to kill themselves, that's the argument from the judge, I think. But the lawyer saying, listen, that's on him. It's on him. So a speaker, quote, a speaker is not protected by the First Amendment if her speech is intended to incite or produce imminent unlawful action, and if such unlawful action is substantially likely to occur. So I think that's how she ended up in jail, as is. She ended up in jail because, according to the laws, the precedent that's been set in 1968, a speaker is not protected by the First Amendment if her speech is intended to incite or produce imminent unlawful action. But I want to throw out an argument against me. Because I know, especially in young adults, teenagers and young adults, the use of, well, I don't know, maybe in older people too. I don't know. I just remember hearing more stories like this as a kid. And so let me just share a story with you, an anecdote with you, and we'll break it down. We'll unpack it from there. I love you too, honey. McKenna, Jason. Teenagers in a big fight. Girl wants to break up with the boy. They're driving, and the boy says, well, I don't even want to live then. If you're not going to be, I'm just going to kill myself, and opens the car door, right? So in that moment, she says, no, stop. And whatever, we move on. He doesn't kill himself. Those kinds of things happen a lot. So, or too frequently, I would imagine. Only because, again, based on stories I remember from right after high school. So I miss you too, honey. Now get off your dad's computer. I'm just kidding. You stay there and keep commenting. So I can see a scenario where somebody's using this as a, it may not even be a conscious, it might be a subconscious thing. But in order to control a relationship and keep that person in the relationship, they keep going, I'm going to throw myself out this door, right? And as a young person, that can work sometimes. As you get older, though, or you've been through it before, I could see a text going back. That's happening, right? So some guy or some gal's going, oh, if you leave me, I'm going to kill myself. And this is not the first time they've done it. And I could see the other person growing tired. You go, well, you shouldn't. You should stay right there and make sure that their mental health is okay. All right, but also people use that to manipulate, control relationships. So I can see someone going, well, fine, then just do it. Just do it. Why don't you just jump off a bridge? So is then that person held accountable? As we go back to the text message, well, right here, you said, well, just do it then. Just jump off a bridge. And they jumped off a bridge. Off to jail you go. So all right, I see both sides of this argument. She's in jail for now. They're appealing the process. And we'll see if she ends up getting her sentence or whatever thrown out, commuted, however that works. But I guess we can all agree that she was not the best human being in that moment. Already went over that. And lastly, ladies and gentlemen, if you have been got on the internet thinking that Tyler Perry was giving away all his money, he wants to let you know, screw you, he is not. Tyler Perry took to Facebook to warn people that he's not giving away his money, and social media posts that he says he is are fake. Son of a... Now what am I going to do? Get her. Perry posted a video Tuesday warning people of numerous scams in his name that says he is giving away cash to people who shares his fake post. This is so annoying. So annoying. It's not every day, but it's every week. Every week there's at least one, if not two or three, of these things that come into my messenger. And it's either about Facebook shutting down and make sure you forward this, or this is going to happen, make sure you forward this. By the way, if you have a legitimate cause, and you've ever sent me something that said, hey, please share this, or this child is going to die, please know that I didn't even click on it to open it. I'm sorry. I'm desensitized, and I'm not clicking on it. I don't know if you... Hold on, there's a scam coming in. We're talking about scams, and there we go. Scam comes in on the phone there. So yeah, I don't even open those things, and sometimes, or even from people I know, I don't even respond. I don't go, hey, in all due respect, I'm not going to open this. I just leave it blank. I just look at it and go, no. And even if it's something legitimate that you just sent me, the next one's not going to be. And I don't have the time to do due process on every GD forward that comes through telling me that something is going to happen if I don't do this or I do that. All right. Enough of that then. Tyler Perry's not giving away anything. Quote, every day we get 10, 20, 30 of those things shut down on Facebook. Wow, Perry is asking everyone to be vigilant, and while he gives away stuff in person, he doesn't do it on Facebook. Quote, do not give any of your information to these people. Do not give them anything. Hold on a second. I want to see if I can find the last one that was in there. To see if, because I'll run it by you guys and see, because like I said, as soon as I glance and it seems like it's one of those things in that category, I don't even continue to peruse. So let's see if the last one that came in, which was only a couple days ago, that's why I think I can find it quickly, is something worth. Oh, no, come on. Just, son of a, my bad. Hold, please. Hold. Don't go anywhere. This will be worth it. Worth it eventually. Come on, man. Stupid functions. Okay. No. Oh, no. Hold, please. Hold. No. 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 All right. Here we go. Here's one. I want to click on it just because we were talking about it. But I'm not happy that I'm about to click on this thing. What the hell is this? This is stupid. A star has 5 ends, a square has 4 ends, a triangle has 3 ends, a line has 2 ends, but a circle of our friendship has no end. Send this to all your friends, including me, if I am one. If you get 5 back, you're a good friend. If you get 10 back, you're popular. If you get 15, dang, I'm jealous. All right, who the F was this? Nicholas? What the hell? I mean, I don't mean to be rude, but are you in middle school? Do you need some positive affirmation that you are liked by somebody? Then there's a part of me where that clicks into my brain when I see that. I'm like, well, maybe this guy just needs someone to say hi to. Maybe he's not doing too well, and whatever. And so maybe if I just say, hey man, I hope all, but no, I'm not going to do it. I'm sorry. If that is a cry for help, I'm sorry that I had my ears plugged. Sharon, chain letters back in the day were illegal. Holy crap. I remember getting one of those. Not me, my parents. But I can't remember if they actually did it. Because they did Amway, so I'm sure. Because it was right. You would get this chain letter that it would be a copy of something that would say, hey, put $1, right? $1 or $5, something small in this. Send it. How did that go, Sharon? Or was it that's what it was. Copy this letter 10 times or something. Put $1 in each envelope and send it to the next. I don't remember, but I do. I recall barely. All right, that is that. Oh, here's the other one. Did you guys... Hi, I'm Mark Zuckerberg, the director of Facebook. Hello, everyone. It seems that all the warnings were real. Facebook use will cost money, and I'm going to delete it now. Do a Snopes before you send that to people. Come on, man. Just a simple Snopes. Oh, wait, hold on. This was confirmed. Facebook is shutting down tomorrow at 3. Colin misses me too. Well, I'll tell Colin I miss him. I love you guys. Sorry that I missed you last weekend. And thank you so much for tuning into the Wake.Show, where obviously it's a show about the issues of the day and my family and their children when they hop on. Oh. Send this to 10 people. I don't remember a lot of the details like you. I was young. I just remember my mom talking about that. Yeah, it was something. You had to make a copy of it and then send it off to 10 people. Yeah. Maybe it was you sent $1 back to somebody and then sent this forward to 10 people hoping to get $10 back. Was that it? Oh, scams. God bless America. It used to be God bless me. Now it's God bless the world. These people can scam you from all around the world now. All right, that is it for the Wake.Show today. Thank you so much for stopping by. My name is Chris Fisher. And if you guys are going to be out in St. Pete tonight, make sure you join me for karaoke night. That is from 8 until midnight every single Wednesday night at Park and Rec, downtown St. Pete. And then tomorrow night at Mastery's, join me for trivia night every Thursday starting at 7 o'clock. That's Blind Pass, St. Pete Beach. And then I want to let you know that starting next month in August at Mastery's on Thursdays, every third Thursday will be third Thursday theme night. So we'll have a theme every third Thursday, and our first theme, the third Thursday in August, will be Marvel, the world of Marvel Comics. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Be safe. And Chris McCarty will be back tomorrow, along with Steve Weintraub from Golden Diamond Source.